The great lie of the purebred. Welcome back to the channel, friends and breeders. Today, we are going to hit the brakes. We are going to set aside the sales catalogs, the pretty Instagram photos, and the excitement of buying new birds for a moment to talk about the raw, hard truth of poultry farming. The truth that separates the amateurs from the true masters of this craft. Often, we get hundreds of comments on this channel, but every once in a while, one comes in that stops traffic. One that is worth more than 10 textbooks combined. Recently, on our video about identifying breeds, a subscriber named Kirby Jackson, a veteran with 50 years of experience breeding champions, left a masterclass comment that I need to share, break down, and analyze with you point by point. He touched a nerve, an uncomfortable truth that many bird sellers and commercial hatcheries don't want you to know. Having a bird with purity papers means absolutely nothing if it isn't well-bred. Today, we are going to dismantle the purebred myth. We will understand why a Rhode Island Red can be from a 100% pure bloodline and still be a mediocre animal that you should never breed. We will analyze why some of you see a supreme quality rooster and mistakenly think he is a mutt just because he is dark. And, thanks to a new insight from our expert, we will look at the real history of the Bresse breed and how long it actually takes to fix a breed. Finally, we will close with the correct strategy for meat crosses, answering a subscriber's doubt about whether to use a Bresse rooster with a Dorking hen. If you want to stop being a simple bird multiplier and become a true field geneticist, get comfortable, because this is the class no one ever gave you. Let's begin. Let's start with the foundation. Our friend with half a century of experience told us verbatim, "There is a very wide gulf of difference between purebred fowl and well-bred fowl. Let's break this down because it is the #1 rookie mistake. When you buy a purebred animal, the only thing you are guaranteed is a historical fact. That its father was, for example, a Rhode Island Red, and its mother was a Rhode Island Red. Nothing more. Purity is just an ancestry record, not a quality certificate. Purity is just the starting line, not the finish line. Nature, friends, is chaotic and tends towards disorder. There is a biological law known as regression to the mean. What does this mean? It means nature always tries to go back to basic, to average. If you take two world champions, perfect structure, perfect color, and cross them, their offspring will be good. But if you then let those offspring reproduce freely with their siblings without your intervention, without rigorous selection, in 3 or 4 generations, those animals will lose their size, their color will wash out, and their type will degrade. They will go back to being average birds. They will still be pure in their DNA, but they will look like common backyard chickens. A well-bred or standard-bred animal is one where the breeder has actively intervened to fight that regression. It is a bird that not only comes from parents of the same breed but adheres to the standard of perfection. As the expert told us, I've seen plenty of pure Rhode Island Reds that tend toward an off-red coloration or possess a body type more typical of a production red. Those birds are pure, yes. Their blood doesn't lie. But visually, they are culls. They are genetic faults that nature produces. If you buy purity without demanding standard, you are buying the brand name, but they are delivering a car with a lawnmower engine. To illustrate this with a practical example from this very channel, I want to bring up another fascinating comment from a subscriber named Harry Wandraputra. He looked at one of our Heritage Line Rhode Island Red roosters and commented, "Totally confused. Asterisk. I know the standard, but I don't see lustrous rich red. I just see almost black. The beak seems black." So I conclude, no RIR. This comment is pure gold, because it is the perfect example of how the commercial industry has distorted our perception of reality. They have accustomed us to seeing the incorrect as if it were the norm. Friend, pay close attention. What this user identified as a defect, the almost black color, is actually the supreme virtue of the original breed. The true heritage Rhode Island Red, the one winning shows in 1940, must have a deep mahogany red color. It is a red so intense, so saturated with pigment, that when the bird is in the shade, it effectively looks black or like dark chocolate. Only when direct sunlight hits it does that dark cherry shine explode. The brick red or bright orange red we see in farm stores and most YouTube videos is the result of massive industrial breeding. Production lines, production reds, have been selected for decades for only one thing: laying eggs fast. By focusing only on the egg, they ignored feather color. And genetically, by losing pigmentation and density, the red dilutes and becomes orange or light brown. So paradoxically, if you see a rooster that looks too dark, that has intense mahogany shading on the wings and even a dark horn streak on the beak, he is not a mutt. You are likely looking at an animal of much higher genetic quality than the light red ones we are used to. Do not confuse poor commercial quality with old heritage standard. The expert eye knows that darkness is genetic gold. Returning to the wisdom of our 50-year expert, he mentioned a phrase that should be tattooed on the door of every coop. The real issue is poor breeding selection. Here we enter painful territory, the part no one wants to do. To have well-bred animals, you have to learn to cull. Many tell me, but I feel bad, it's purebred. The hatching egg was expensive. Understand this well. Purity without selection is degeneration. Let's do a realistic math exercise. If you have 100 Rhode Island red chicks hatched from champion parents, maybe 20 will be excellent, show quality. About 50 will be average, breeder quality. And about 30 will be deficient, cull quality. Those 30 culls might have faults that would ruin your flock in a single generation. We are talking about serious faults like 1. Crooked toes. If a bird has bent toes, it's genetic. Its offspring will walk poorly. 2. Squirrel tail. When the tail leans forward, touching the back of the neck, breaking the backline. 3. Crossed beak. An animal that cannot eat well and will pass that cranial defect to its chicks. 4. Wrong color. That washed out red or white feathers in the wings or willow green legs. They are pure, yes. They have papers, yes. But if you allow those 30 defective animals to breed with the good ones, you are injecting genes of weakness into your line. In 2 years, your entire flock will have structural defects. The real breeder, the one who respects the breed, removes those animals from the breeding program without hesitation. He doesn't sell them as breeders to an unsuspecting novice. They go to the freezer or to layer flocks with no rooster. Remember this phrase. The quality of your farm is not measured by your best animals, it is measured by the worst ones you keep. If you tolerate mediocrity, you will become mediocre. Now I want to add a deeper layer. In a second interaction, our expert Kirby Jackson shared something fascinating about his own journey, illustrating that breeding is not a sprint, but a marathon of patience. He told us, "Originally, I focused on exhibition-bred Seabrights and was fortunate enough to breed many champions. But for the last 20 years, I have focused on Campines and have worked with Bresse since they were imported in 2011. Pay attention to what he says about the Bresse, because it is a lesson in humility. Kirby says, "The first Bresse we had came every which way, but in the last few years we are starting to see very uniform type and body structure, courtesy of 5 or 6 very serious breeders who study their matings very religiously." Let's analyze this. The Bresse arrived in the US in 2011. They were pure animals, imported directly from Europe, but despite being pure, they were not uniform. They were a visual mess. What was needed? Not more purity. It needed the work of 5 or 6 serious breeders over more than a decade, from 2011 to today, selecting, culling, and studying matings to fix the breed on a new continent. This proves that buying the trendy or newly imported breed doesn't guarantee quality. Sometimes the breed needs years of adaptation and selection work to stabilize. Kirby mentions he studies his matings religiously and has only improvements in mind. That is the mindset. It's not about multiplying chickens to sell tomorrow. It's about dedicating 10 or 20 years to a breed, like he did with Campines, until you bring it to perfection. Poultry farming is patience. After talking so much about keeping the line pure, sacred, and perfect, does this mean we should never cross breeds? That crossing is a mortal sin? Not necessarily. But there is a giant difference between mixing by accident, because the rooster jumped the fence, and crossing by design with a clear commercial goal. We had a very technical question from another subscriber I've gone fishing who is planning a gourmet meat project. He asked specifically, which is better for an initial cross, a Bresse rooster with a Dorking hen, or the other way around, a Dorking rooster with a Bresse hen? Notice the mental difference. This user is not mixing carelessly. He is looking for what we call hybrid vigor or heterosis for a specific purpose, supreme quality meat. For those who don't know, the Bresse, the queen of French poultry, and the Dorking, an ancient English breed famous for white meat and 5 toes, are 2 of the best culinary birds in the world. My technical answer for him and for all of you looking into meat projects is the following. Use the Dorking rooster with the Bresse hen. Why this specific order? Pure productive math and farm efficiency. Let's analyze it. The Bresse hen is an exceptional layer for a meat bird. She lays many more eggs per year than the Dorking hen, which is heavier, broodier, and slower to lay. If you use the Bresse hen as the mother, you will get many more fertile eggs, and therefore many more hybrid chicks per season. On the other hand, the father, the Dorking rooster, will contribute his dominant genetics of massive structure, short legs, and wide rectangular chest to those offspring. The result will be a first-generation animal, what we call F1, that will grow faster, be more disease-resistant, and stronger than either of its pure parents. This is strategic crossing. You are combining the laying capacity of the mother with the meat structure of the father. But here comes the giant warning. Those F1 offspring are the terminal product. They are for eating. They are not for breeding. The lesson here is clear. Keep your pure lines separate and perfect, like Kirby does with his campines, and use them to create hybrids only if you have a clear commercial goal, like our friend with the gourmet cross. Never mix just to mix. Purity is your savings account. The cross is how you spend the interest. To close this deep analysis, I want to give you practical tools. After reading these expert comments and seeing the doubts about colors and crosses, how do you ensure you don't get scammed when buying your next birds? How do you know if you are buying from a master breeder or a snake oil salesman? Based on the collective experience of our community, here are 3 red flags to run from. 1. Sells only by breed name. If the seller says they are Rhode Island Reds but can't explain if they are production line or heritage line, run. If he doesn't know the difference, it's because he has commercial birds and will charge you a premium price. 2. No selection, the anything goes pen. If you visit his farm or see his videos and notice that in his breeding pen he has animals with visible defects, crossed beaks, washed out colors, wrong leg color, breeding freely with the good ones, run. That seller has no devotion, he only has merchandise. He is selling you his own genetic mistakes. 3. Doesn't know the standard. If you ask why his roosters are so dark, like in the Mahogany case, and he can't explain that it's a virtue, or worse, tells you that's just how they came out, it's because he hasn't studied. A good breeder knows exactly why his birds look the way they look. The best source for your birds, as our 50-year veteran stated, are the people who study their breed religiously. Look for that breeder who seems obsessed, the one who refuses to sell you a chick because it doesn't meet the chest width even though you think it looks pretty. That man or woman who prefers to eat a bird rather than sell something mediocre with their name on it, that is the one who has the gold. The one who wants to sell you everything that hatches is only selling you future problems. Friends, poultry farming is an endless journey, a school where we never graduate. We can have paper purity, but without the human eye's selection, purity dilutes and is lost. We can have doubts about a dark color, without knowing we are looking at a lost genetic gem that we must preserve. And we can have the patience to wait 10 years, as Kirby taught us with his Bresse, to see the fruits of a job well done. I want to deeply thank Kirby Jackson, Hariwandraputra, and Avegone Fishing. Your comments are not just text on a YouTube screen, they are the fuel that keeps true poultry science alive on this channel. Thank you for sharing your experience and your doubts, because you make us all better. If you have an experience, a doubt about a standard, or a debate on genetics, leave it below in the comments. Read them, learn from them, because as you have seen today, true mastery is often found not in the video, but down below in the community. Keep your standards high, your selection strict, and your birds healthy. To your success, my fellow breeder. Until next time.